Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to my corner of the world. It's time for a death battle. This time we got Martian Manhunter versus Silver Surfer. I have no idea how I missed this one. It came out like a year and a half ago or something like that. And I'm just now realizing that I never watched this. Don't know how, but here we are with it today. And I am going in rooting for Martian Manhunters simply because I prefer DC to Marvel, and I know more about Martian Manhunter than I do Silver Surfer. So let's just hop in. Link to the original video will be in the description if you want to check it out on your own. Let's run this up.
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored
It's
by
23
Netflix's
minutes.
One
We're gonna
Piece
be here for a
and
minute.
Shady Rays.
We're gonna be here for a while, so feel free to grab a snack or a drink or something.
Martian Manhunter, DC's Space Ranger.
The Silver Surfer, Marvel's Sentinel of the Spaceways.
The depths of space hold secrets beyond our comprehension.
This is going to be very
but
educational for me
superheroes have seen
in
more
regards
of it
to
than
Silver
any of us
Surfer.
could ever hope to.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
Yeah, all I know is
And
Silver
it's our job to
Surfer
analyze their
is from the
weapons, armor,
Fantastic
and
Four
skills
movies.
to find out who would win a death battle. For as long as mankind has looked upon the night sky, the stars have beckoned the brave to search the unknown and explore its endless wonders.
Like Dr. Saul Erdell, who's kind of a doctor in the same way Dr. Pepper is a doctor. This guy's got no formal education, but that didn't stop him from messing around with some ancient tech he stumbled upon.
He was desperate to live out his boyhood dreams of exploring the cosmos. So with the tech's advanced capabilities, Erdell created a machine that would bring the cosmos to him.
He pointed the machine at Mars, pushed a button, and hoped for the best. And it worked! Erdell summoned a real-life Martian right before his very eyes. So remember, kids, when in doubt, just push buttons. Never fails.
The mysterious and powerful alien known as J'onn J'onzz, the Martian Manhunter, immediately started using his incredible powers in front of the Doctor, like mind reading and shape-shifting.
Which was just the tip of Erdell's discoveries. Turns out, Martians have complete control over their bodies and can transform into practically anything, like a freaking dragon, an exact duplicate of Wonder Woman down to her central nervous system, or even a totally generic green monster that loves choco cookies.
They can also shoot lasers from their eyes, fire psionic blasts, turn invisible, and phase through anything. Even Green Lantern constructs and force fields that Superman couldn't get through.
On top of all that, they've got a crazy healing factor. John has regenerated back from a single limb, tiny pieces, or even a puddle of goo.
I mean, Superman straight up admitted that Martian Manhunter could beat
Dr.
him,
Erdell's
so
poor human heart and caused him to die in the Martian's arms.
That's not something
Well,
light,
at least
you know?
he accomplished his goal before he bit the red dust, right? Anyway, John used his shape-shifting abilities to hide amongst his new world by assuming the identity of a recently deceased detective named John Jones. God, what a crazy coincidence, comic book writer, you clever man.
Detective J'onn J'onzz lived a double life on Earth for many years, solving cases and helping as many people as he could from the shadows. But eventually, he stepped out, revealing himself to the world, and helped found the Justice League of America.
And John definitely holds his own in the supergroup. He once pulled the Earth alongside Wonder Woman and Superman, who has stated that of all the beings in the known universe, he would be afraid to fight John.
And he should be afraid.
He
Superman
should
wouldn't
be,
be
yeah.
the first Kryptonian John has gone toe-to-toe with. He's manhandled Ultraman, who's basically evil Superman from another universe, and Superboy Prime, who can shatter reality with his punches, and is also evil Superman from another universe.
He took a blast from Asmodel, the king angel from a literal army of heaven. He's
Oh,
held his
wow.
own against
I didn't know
Darkseid,
that.
the manifestation of tyranny in the DC universe. And he's fast enough to catch up to Supergirl and Superman, who we know flies so fast he can burst the bonds of infinity. So basically, he's just as strong and just as fast as a bunch of crazy gods and demons.
While J'onn's strength and speed are obviously very impressive, it's also no secret that his greatest biggest asset is his mind.
Yep.
He's one of the most powerful telepaths in all of the DC universe.
He reads minds, duh, but he can also shut them down altogether. And he once made Mr. Mr. Mixed Pickles. Fuck your name, that's whatever. Anyway, he got him to subconsciously say his own name backwards, which God only knows because I can't say it forwards, which canceled out his powers.
His psychic defenses were strong enough to protect the Justice League against a worldwide telepathic attack. And his ability to sense people's feelings is so strong, he can feel every sentient being in the entire galaxy.
And he once outthought Perpetua from the Omniverse. Who's that, you ask? Oh, just the freaking creator of the entire multiverse. She's basically the god of everything.
Jean needed to connect his consciousness with everyone on Earth before Perpetua could catch up. He pulled this off by using his mental abilities within the span of Planck time, literally the smallest possible measurement of time. In the time it takes you to count to 1, Jean could count to 1 and fly across the universe and back over 200 sextillion times.
What? Oh my god.
He's a faster thinker than God. And it didn't end there. John took a punch from her and walked away with just a bloody nose. And when she disintegrated him into basically nothing, he regenerated back from a hit from God.
Batman has said that in order to kill Jean for good, you would have to literally destroy every single atom in his body one by one.
God damn! If I didn't love alliteration so much, I'd say we change this guy's name to Martian God Hunter or something. He's basically invincible, right?
Not
quite. Jean is not without weakness. He has a very real vulnerability to fire.
Yeah.
At times, it has completely overwhelmed him to the point where he loses control of his body.
And not just literal fire either. Jean was once tricked into just thinking he was surrounded by fire, and that was enough for him.
Even still, Jean has been able to overcome this weakness. He's fought enemies with fire abilities and even taken hits from fire attacks, which leads me to believe the weakness, while potent and still able to cause real physical harm, is mainly psychosomatic. What are you doing?
I heard what you said. Weakness to fire is just in your head. I'll be a living god! Another win in the mind column for sure. And to think there's a whole planet of these guys out there.
Unfortunately, that's no longer the case. Before Dr. Erdel's strange experiment, Jean's own brother used the Martians' telepathic connection to each other against them, and the entire planet was plagued with Ronmir's curse.
As long as they stayed telepathically connected, every Martian was vulnerable to a mental fire that would overwhelm them and burn them from the inside out.
Which sadly worked very well, because the fear of fire is something Jean shares with his fellow Martians.
Yep.
Centuries earlier, the Guardians of the Universe, a group of immortal aliens who run the Green Lantern Corps, feared that the Martian race could become too strong. So they programmed the Martians with that genetic weakness to fire.
Jean was able to survive the fiery curse by cutting off his mental connection to his people.
Hold on, did I just hear that correctly? They were given the weakness of fire?
Too strong. So they programmed the Martians with that genetic weakness.
That's insane, bro. Oh my god, that is insane.
To fire.
Jean was able to survive the fiery curse by cutting off his mental connection to his people, including his family.
I did not know that.
Unfortunately, his wife, Myria, and their daughter couldn't live with the isolation, and he had no choice but to watch them give in and burn alive. Damn.
Racked with grief and survivor's guilt, Jean was left to wander his homeworld all alone. His only solace being shape-shifting into his lost loved ones to convince himself they were still alive.
Oh, that's so heartbreaking.
Jesus, John. That is so sad.
That pain has undoubtedly shaped who Jean is. In fact, the trauma he held onto so tightly formed a literal spiritual connection with those lost souls. A telepathic connection so strong, it kept them from finding peace in an afterlife. Let me say that again. His grief and telepathy were so strong, he prevented an entire race of people from moving on to the afterlife.
It wasn't until years later that John could return to Mars and release those souls by finally letting go. And not to forget them, but to embrace his new life and his new home, a place he would defend time and time again to make sure the Earth never suffers a fate similar to Mars.
To experience all of that, to truly know what it feels like to be alone in the vast universe, but continue to use your wisdom and power to help those in need, is what makes the Martian Manhunter such a noble hero.
On a planet packed with other incredible heroes, John really has set himself apart. He's risen through the ashes and emerged the heart and soul of the Justice League.
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by
is a
One Piece
beast,
on
bro.
Netflix.
Made by fans for fans, this live-action adaptation of the beloved manga is designed to introduce new audiences to the zany pirate epic. And where else would it start but the East Blue, a world populated
Jean is such a
Ra,
beast.
a virtual utopia.
All right, let's learn
free from
about
any and
Silver
all
Surfer.
crime, poverty, and disease.
I know
And
little
home
to nothing
Nori
about him.
Red, which I've gotta say is the sickest, most radical name I have ever heard in my entire life. He was a brainy kid who was raised to live a life of reason and intellect over one of gnarly adventure.
That is, until the technologically advanced society came under threat from the devourer of worlds, Galactus.
So Norin struck up a deal with the World Muncher. In exchange for sparing his planet, Mr. Red offered to leave his home behind, become Galactus's herald, and seek out new planets for
That
him
I
to scarf
did
down.
know.
And once Galactus agreed to the deal, he imbued his new herald with the power cosmic, transforming him into the Silver Surfer.
An equally tubular name. 2 for 2. Wow, you rarely see it.
The power cosmic grants the Surfer near unlimited energy.
Oh, he's as tall
well
as
matter
me?
manipulation,
Damn.
phasing, super strength, speed, and invulnerability, just to name a few.
The Surfers basically got all of Galactus' space magic, just on a smaller scale, and Galactus uses that power to fight guys like the In-Betweener, an abstract being from the overspace.
The Surfer used the power cosmic to serve Galactus diligently for nearly 100 years, during which he ensured that the planets consumed were devoid of sentient life.
That is, until the Surfer accidentally offered up a planet with life, which drove him crazy with guilt. So Galactus tried his best to suppress the Surfer's emotions, erase the painful memories, and make it easier for him to find planets with tasty, delicious life, guilt-free. How
Oh my
nice of
God.
him.
And it worked for a while until the Surfer reached Earth. Galactus's mighty
Of
mind
course.
manipulation wasn't enough to bury the
Why
Surfer's
is
true
Earth
nature
so
for good.
special?
With the help of Alicia Masters and the Fantastic Four, the Surfer turned against his overlord and saved the Earth from being eaten.
But even after all of that, Galactus just let the Surfer keep his powers. At any point, he could have just taken them back.
Being the source of the Surfer's powers, yes, he could. But Galactus has continued to let the Surfer have the power cosmic out of respect for his first herald.
Damn. See, that's the kind of respect I'm asking from you.
Okay.
Anyway, ever since those mental gymnastics with Galactus, the Surfer made sure nothing like that would ever happen again.
And he's been successful, like when Psycho Man failed to trick the Surfer with his illusions, or when he was briefly trapped in the Supreme Intelligence's mind when it was using the Mind Stone.
With some of those mental threats behind.
Supreme Intelligence.
Sorry, I was just trying to read all of these. But honestly, bro, the fact that he can match the 6 Infinity Stones is insane. Like, I knew Silver Surfer was powerful, but I didn't know he scaled up that high. Oh my lord.
Intelligence's mind when it was using the Mind Stone.
With some of those mental threats behind him, he could finally take to the spaceways, kick ass, and monologue about the meaning of life in the universe.
All of which he's quite good at, especially that last one. It's thanks to the abilities afforded to him through all that cosmic energy.
It's seriously crazy. He can rearrange the molecules of anything he wants into
What?
anything he wants. He can force you to just feel pain in general, and he can even control elements. Not just earth, wind, and fire, but anything in a boogie wonderland like gravity and the weather.
He's got enough power and energy inside him that he once created an infant
manipulate
star to serve as a new
souls?
light source in a universe devoid of light.
Bruh.
So just when he needed it, he was able to pop out a baby son? That's convenient.
That's the power cosmic.
But we can't forget about the sick board he shreds the stars with. This thing's basically an extension of himself. He can transform it into a sweet sword or into pure cosmic energy. And if it breaks, he can just form a new one.
On his board, the Surfer has traveled at incalculable speeds on multiple
Yeah, I
occasions.
know he
can
is
fly
very
faster than
fast.
Thor, and even once flew so fast he reached the future.
Even without his board, he once broke free from energy shackles that would zap away his power within the next nanosecond. Gnarly, brah. He once outsurfed a wave of universal destruction. He had to surf out of all of existence as it was being torn apart. Now, I've seen some choice waves in my day, but if you ask me, that's one too best for watching on the beach with a brew.
You're hitting it real hard with all this surfing lingo. He's honestly not that kind of guy at all.
Righteously disagree with you, dude. You are carving up my brainwaves into an A-frame swell that I just can't bail. I'm waxed, man, waxed.
The Silver Surfer is a
What?
tragic figure who is always weighing his choices through every angle of morality. Like when he set out to destroy the new host of the Star Brand, an energy source that grants his wielders virtually infinite power, capable of wiping out all life on Earth.
The Star Brand seems to choose a new unknowing host at random. Could be a good guy, could be the most evil person to ever exist. But despite that threat, the Surfer spared the new Star Brand once he found out she was carrying a child.
He decided to bear the weight of any potential consequences on his own shoulders, instead of squashing any and all hope that the child would use that power for good.
I get it. He's a righteous dude on a surfboard.
Exactly. And in the Surfer's case, a keen sense of morality also comes with a keen sense of his
I
surroundings
love
in
that
general.
chase
He can
scene
see
so
enemies
much.
even when they're invisible and can sense incoming threats, to the point where he can sense someone approaching even before they've left their own home.
He can also
What?
absorb energy his opponents throw at him. Anything from psionic energy to a freaking star. The Surfer can even do it when he's on death's door. Hey, Wiz, what do you think the doormat on death's door says? Probably like, knock 'em dead, right?
What are you talking? Now, it does take a lot to get the Surfer to death's door. He's taken a blast from the
What did that just say? If it's Jean Grey, what?
Now, it does take a lot to get the Surfer to...
If it's Jean Grey, please use backhand. Wow.
Death's door.
Alright.
He's taken a blast from the Infinity Stones, survived being smashed into pieces, crashed into the Big Bang, and played catch with a star.
He caught it and then
What?
threw it right back at that punk Deadpool. Ha! I hope you like
How
a
did
big ball of
Deadpool
gas
get-
in your face, you
Okay.
tool.
Reed Richards, the smartest man
Is that
alive,
part
has
of
said that the
the
Surfer is probably
comic
the
where
most
he
powerful
killed
being in
the
all the
Marvel
galaxy.
Universe?
And even after years spent drifting through the galaxy, he's still built strong bonds, like with the Fantastic Four, the Defenders, and with people like Dawn Greenwood.
But somehow, he always ends up alone in space, searching for answers, searching for beings that need his help, searching for something that could replace the home that he lost all those years ago.
Only to be weighed down by the guilt of his servitude and the pain of his sacrifice, which was ultimately done in vain. Cause it doesn't seem to matter what the Surfer does. Zenla is destined for destruction. At this point, his home world has been destroyed 4 times over.
Despite it
Oh
all,
my
this
God.
tragic hero still manages to take everything in stride as he surfs the stars and fights tirelessly to preserve every being's right to live.
These two have such tragic stories. I didn't know that Silver Surfer's story was like that. I didn't like I knew he was one of the most powerful Marvel characters, but I didn't realize he scaled up that high, you know? Like, he's able to manipulate souls too. I didn't know he could do all that. Bruh. Alright.
Polarized sunglasses.
Try for yourself. The Shade's rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've
Manipulating
run the data
souls,
through all
manipulating
possibilities.
people's
It's
bodies. I
time
didn't
for
know he
a
could do all
death
that.
battle!
In all of my journeys, I have never seen anything quite like this.
I assumed your journeys would have made you rather familiar with places like this, Norrin Rad. Or should I say, Silver Surfer. Now, tell me why you have summoned me here.
Enough.
What are you hiding? Tell me your secrets.
I must end this.
These two are very similar, aren't they?
There's no use in hiding. I can feel your presence.
He can make a new one.
Martian might.
Your will is admirable, but will alone is not enough. Feel the pain.
You and I possess the same knowledge.
That only one of us can survive, and we know not why.
I hope you can live with the uncertainty.
Victory comes with no certain satisfaction. I may never know why we were made to fight. If violence is ever truly justified, but perhaps there is something worthy in the battle.
Myria.
Something beyond my understanding.
Oh my god, dude. That was a lot.
Hey-o! Wiz, what the hell are we doing? Why are we forcing such beautiful souls to fight to the death?
That was a
Both the
lot.
Silver Surfer and the Martian Manhunter were two extraordinarily powerful beings, each with very wide power sets.
So they both had counters for almost everything they could throw at each other.
I'm sorry
They
I
could
didn't
both
say
phase
much
through
during the
objects,
fight. I
rearrange
was just
molecules,
like
and
so
regenerate their own
lost in
bodies.
it.
But arguably the biggest thing on the Martian Manhunter's side was his formidable telepathy. The Surfer has had his memories erased and his emotions manipulated by Galactus. So it would stand to reason that Jean could pose a mental threat to the Surfer.
But the Surfer has resisted mental attacks many times. When Psycho Man played on the Surfer's guilt and pretended to be his lost love, the Surfer saw right through it, and he escaped the Supreme Intelligence's mind when it was using a frickin' Mind Stone.
These two could have gone toe-to-toe around the universe for a long time. But when it came down to it, the question was, who had the power to put the other down for good?
They both have some serious healing factors and have come back from basically nothing. But if ending Martian Manhunter meant destroying his every atom one by one, the Surfer has the means to make that happen thanks to the seemingly endless well of energy that is the power cosmic.
It's truly an overwhelming source of unlimited power. And outside of Galactus stripping the power away from him, the Surfer is never without it.
It's like a battery. Even if Jean could drain all of the cosmic energy, the Surfer can just recharge it. And he's used that power to destroy planets, defeat Galactus-level threats, and can basically accomplish anything with it.
While both of these philosophic heroes tend to hold back out of a respect for life, there's obviously no holding back here. And the depth of
Yeah.
Silver Surfer's abilities gave him the win.
This Martian was harsh in his mellow, so the Surfer had to wave goodbye. Bodacious, cowabunga, hang ten Ninja Turtles.
The winner
was?
is the Silver Surfer.
Okay. I really got educated today. I did not know that Silver Surfer was built like that. I just thought he was some cosmically powerful dude on a surfing board. I didn't know he had all that, you know? This was quite educational for me. This was a pretty nice fight though. I will say that. I got like pretty lost in it toward the end because it was just like so interesting to watch. But yeah, this was a cool fight. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. If you guys enjoyed my reaction to this, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And I will catch you in the next one. See ya.